I'm Nora, and this is my story. A tale of revenge that's been brewing for a decade, ever since my parents, Evelyn and Harold, threw me out of the yellow house I grew up in. I was 17, clutching a worn suitcase, standing on the cracked sidewalk as the door slammed behind me. They cut me off no money, no family, no mercy, all because I wouldn't bend to their suffocating control. Now, at 27, I've returned. Not as their daughter, but as the owner of the house they've been renting. This is how I turned their rejection into my triumph. Brick by brick, deed by deed. That yellow house was my world growing up, its chipped paint and sagging porch as familiar as my own skin. But inside it was a cage. Evelyn and Harold ruled with iron fists. They had my life mapped out. Marry a man they approved of, preferably the son of their church friend, and forget my dreams of art. My sketches of dark, swirling illustrations that poured my soul onto paper were childish nonsense, Evelyn would say, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. Harold never argued with her. His silence was his weapon, cold and heavy. I was 16 when I started pushing back. I'd stay up late in the attic, sketching by flashlight, hiding my work from their prying eyes. By 17, I'd had enough. I told them I was applying to art school, that I wouldn't marry their chosen groom or live their scripted life. The fight that followed was a storm. Evelyn's face turned red as she screamed, "You're no daughter of ours, you're throwing away everything we've given you." Harold, as always, said nothing, just handed me a bag with some clothes and pointed to the door. I can still hear the lock clicking as I stood outside. The weight of their rejection, heavier than the suitcase in my hand. I was alone, with no money and nowhere to go. But I didn't break. Survival wasn't pretty. I couch-surfed with friends, slept in hostels when I could afford it, and worked every job I could find. Waitressing at greasy diners, cleaning houses, even scrubbing floors at a gym. I saved every penny, applied for scholarships, and clawed my way into art school. My nights were spent drawing, pouring my pain into every line. My graphic novels, dark, raw, laced with the grief of being cast out, caught the eye of a small publisher. By 25, they were bestsellers. By 27, I had a fortune my parents could never have imagined. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was thriving. The idea for revenge came from Lacera, my friend and a real estate agent with a knack for uncovering secrets. We were at a cafe, her green eyes sparkling with mischief, when she leaned across the table. "Nora, you won't believe this. Your parents are still in that yellow house. And it's for sale." I laughed at first, thinking it was absurd, but the idea took hold, sinking roots into my mind. What if I could buy the house they lived in, the house they'd thrown me out of? Lacera grinned, already planning. "I can make it happen," she said. "We'll keep your name out of it." She set up a shell company, burying my identity under layers of paperwork. Another friend, Torin, a lawyer with a love for poetic justice, joined the plan. "You're not just buying a house," he said, his smile sharp. "You're buying their world." I signed the deed in a quiet office, my heart pounding. Evelyn and Harold were my tenants now, and they had no idea. The thought was intoxicating. The day I confronted them, I stood on that familiar sidewalk, staring at the house. My house. The porch still sagged, the paint still peeled, but it felt different now, mine. I knocked, my palms damp, but my resolve was like steel. Evelyn opened the door, older now, her face etched with lines of bitterness. She didn't recognize me at first, her eyes narrowing. "Who are you?" "Nora," I said, watching the shock hit her like a slap. "I'm here about the house." Harold appeared behind her, his hair thinner, his posture still rigid with pride. "Nora?" he muttered, disbelief in his voice. "What do you want?" I held up the deed, my hands steady. "I own this place now. Your lease is up." Evelyn's face was drained of color. "You're lying. You can't afford this. You're nothing." I smiled, cold and sharp. "Check the paperwork. It's mine, and I'm not renewing." Harold's jaw tightened. "You can't do this. We've lived here 30 years. "And you threw me out after 17. I shot back. "Consider this your notice." Evelyn's voice chased me as I turned to leave. "You ungrateful brat, after everything we did for you." I spun around, my anger flaring. Everything? You controlled me, belittled me, disowned me when I wouldn't obey? You don't get to play victims now. They didn't go quietly. They hired a lawyer, a weaselly man named Vrenick, who flooded my shell company with threats and demands. But Torin was a force of nature. He countered every move, dismantling Vrenick's arguments with clauses and precedents I barely understood. The eviction notice stood, unshakable. Lysera dug deeper and uncovered more about Evelyn and Harold. They'd been leeching off their neighbors for years, borrowing money they never repaid, spreading lies about their troubled daughter to gain sympathy. It made my blood boil. I decided to reach out to those neighbors, people like Myrene, a baker with a laugh like warm bread, and Gavix, a retired mechanic who'd fixed my bike when I was 10. I invited them to a meeting at a local cafe, my heart pounding as I stood before them. "I'm Nora," I said, my voice steady. "I'm the new owner of the Yellow House, and I want to make things right." Myrene's eyes widened. "You're Evelyn's daughter? They said you ran away." "They lied," I said, my tone flat. "They disowned me. But I'm here now, and I'll settle any debts they owe you. All I ask is the truth about them." The stories poured out. Gavix told me how Harold borrowed tools and never returned them, leaving him to replace them out of pocket. Myrene shared how Evelyn spread rumors to sabotage her bakery when she refused a loan. Another neighbor, Selwyn, a quiet gardener, recounted how Evelyn had manipulated him into doing free yard work with promises she never kept. Every word hardened my resolve. This wasn't just about evicting them. It was about exposing who they were. The final act came on moving day. I stood on the lawn, watching Evelyn and Harold pack their lives into boxes. A moving truck idled nearby, and the neighbors watched from their porches, drawn by the drama. Lysera and Torin stood by my side, my anchors in this storm. Evelyn glared at me, her voice low and venomous. "You think you've won? You're still nothing, just a spiteful child." I stepped closer, my eyes locked on hers. "I'm not a child anymore, and this isn't spite. This is justice for me, for the neighbors you used, for everyone you hurt." Harold, quiet until now, spoke up, his voice strained. "Where are we supposed to go?" I shrugged, my heart cold but steady. "That's not my problem. You made your choices." As the truck pulled away, Lysera touched my arm. "You okay, Nora?" I nodded, though my chest ached. Revenge was fire powerful, consuming, but it left ashes. "Yeah," I said, "let's fix this place." The months that followed were a blur of transformation. I poured myself into the Yellow House, stripping away the old to make it new. I tore down the peeling paint, fixed the sagging porch, and replaced the creaky floors with gleaming hardwood. The attic, where I'd once hidden my sketches, became my studio, flooded with light from a new skylight. Every change felt like erasing their hold on me, like painting over the past with colors I chose. I didn't do it alone. Myrene brought fresh bread to the worksite, her laugh filling the air as we worked. Gavix, with his mechanic's hands, helped repair the fence, grumbling good-naturedly about the state of the old posts. Selwyn planted flowers along the walkway, his quiet pride in the garden a gift. The house became more than a building. It became a symbol of what I'd built from nothing. The open house was a celebration. Myrene's bakery catered, filling the air with the scent of warm pastries. Neighbors wandered through, marveling at the changes. "It's like a new house," Gavix said, his eyes crinkling. I smiled, my heart full. It was mine in every way that mattered. Sometimes I walk through the house alone, my footsteps echoing on the hardwood. The walls hold my art now, bold, vibrant pieces that tell my story, not theirs. The Yellow House isn't just a victory, it's a testament to my resilience. Evelyn and Harold thought they'd broken me, but they only set me free. They thought they'd written my ending, but I took the pen and wrote my own. I don't know where they are now, and I don't care. I've heard whispers that Evelyn and Harold moved to a cramped apartment across town, still spinning their tales of victimhood. But their story doesn't matter anymore. This house, this life, this triumph, it's mine. I didn't just buy their house. I reclaimed my power, my future, my name. And I'm Nora. That's enough.